All right, Shalom. Start first by giving all praise and glories unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahushai, Call Halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well, and greetings, salutations, and blessings unto the elect and those that help forward the truth. Shalom. All right, I was watching this video. Well, it was a couple of videos, another response of a response, so to speak. The brother from the Vegas camp here with myself and a few other brothers anyway, he did a video on a 72-hour countdown given to Venezuela as real life Hunger Games blood sport comes to reality TV. And the apostle, through the spirit, just took the thoughts literally out of my mind about that movie, The Running Man, and a few other movies that he mentioned, had came to mind. So I was actually putting a video together when I came across the video he had put up, and so mine will be just pretty much an extension of what the apostle and the brother was going into um, with these articles and these movies. A couple things that came to mind. The first was the apostle mentioned the movie The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll just give a couple of shots of that movie for anybody that hadn't seen it. Very good movie to watch. Richard Dawson, famous game show host. I forgot which game show he was on originally in the 80s, but yeah, famous game show host was in that movie. But that's the new thing. When the strike of 2007, 2007 strike of the Writers Guild or whatever, when they did that, this reality TV thing really popped up big here in the United States. It was pretty big in different countries around the world, but then it popped up really big, giving way, going from sitcoms and TV dramas into these new reality TV shows. With the Survivor and Naked and Alone and In the Jungle or whatever these shows are nowadays. Big Brother and what's The Real World from MTV. All these different shows, reality TV has been a popular trend, so to speak. So it only made sense that after that movie came out, all those reality TVs were popular, leading right into this. And and to the point where a lot of you people, when these cops kill Jake in the streets, what I'm saying, they always slander that Jake, whether they not innocent. We know that, like the scriptures say, whoever perished being innocent. We fully understand that. But they also slander the names of these Jakes and the images of these Jakes, so you build up an immunity or a numbness, so to speak, to them being killed. Like, well, he was a nigga, he deserved it, and blah 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 blah. Mike Brown was a thief, he was stealing in the cop, he didn't do this, and so on and so forth. Well, that's what they want. That leads right into the mentality of accepting a show like this. They lead right into that. So, a couple of other movies that I want to go into that actually the apostle had gone into was this movie, Surviving the Game, with Rutger Hauer and Ice-T. I think what's his name was in it. Gary Busey was in it. What's the guy? Charles S. Dutton that played in the TV series Rock. Look what it budgeted. 7 million, but it did over 7 million in the box office. It did fairly, I guess you could say fairly well, but it's one of those hood classic movies, and since developed a cult following. Yeah, it's a very good movie. So I'll kind of read the plot. Matter of fact, before I go to that, I want to go to a scripture real quick, because this just shows that the MO of the so-called white man, Esau. This is his MO. This is what he's always been about. This is always what he's done. And the first scripture that kind of came to my mind about it was this one right here. Genesis 25:27. It said, the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. And that's just what it reminds me of, a cunning hunter, a man of the field. So when you go to this movie, Surviving the Game, yeah, that's exactly what it was. I'll read the plot of the movie, um, I'll read up here. It says, well, see, I even got that movie on there. It says, anyway, it says, Surviving the Game is a 1994 action thriller film directed by Ernest R. Dickerson, starring Ice-T, Rucker Hauer, and Gary Busey. Yeah, it loosely based on the short story "The Most Dangerous Game" by Richard Connell, and that's I'm gonna go deeper into that also because that was I read that book in high school, I think it was, or junior high, something like that. But it was actually called "The Hounds of Zaroff," something like that. Said although not successful during its theatrical release, it has since developed a cult following. Yeah, so the movie is a good movie. It didn't do extremely well at the box office, but it's still a good watch. Anyway, it says and it's almost like a Rambo. The idea of when they go into the forest and hunt down Rambo. But anyway, it says but the whole idea reverts back to this running man and something that Esau would do, because Esau loves to hunt. So, matter of fact, now I'm gonna read it, but you'll see when it ties into this other the Hounds of Zaroff and the Most Dangerous Game, how it ties back into that. This actually said it up here that it was loosely based on the short story Most Dangerous Game. So anyway, the plot is Jack Mason, a homeless man from Seattle, who I think is played by Ice-T, who loses his only friend, a fellow homeless man, and his pet dog on the same day. Dejected, Mason attempts to commit suicide when a soup kitchen worker Walter Cole saves him, and I think that was Charles S. Dutton. It says Cole refers the man to businessman Thomas Burns. I think that's what's just Rucker Hauer. Yeah. It says who kindly offers Mason a job as a hunting guide. Despite his misgivings, the lure of a well-paying job causes Mason to accept. So flying, and what's funny in the movie, they actually train him up to be able to do it. Like he was smoking cigarettes and all that before. They got him off the cigarettes and had him training and exercising. They built him up so it would be a cunning hunt, you know. So he wouldn't just 5 minutes away. He'd pass out. And then they could just come up and get him. They want him to be able to be in shape to make it really fun. And that's what these Edomites do, man. They do stuff like that. Another movie I was thinking was in that movie, The Purge 2, Anarchy. At the end of the movie, they had that same type of thing where they brought all those people they caught in from the night of the Purge. They allowed all these rich people to come in there and hunt them down inside this what was it called, like an arena. They had different obstacles, almost like the 80s, for you 80s heads that remember the 80s, American Gladiator. Where you're shooting and you're running around and there's obstacles and different stuff to hide behind and go over and whatever else. But how much better to be out in the field like Esau would love, right? It says flying to a remote cabin surrounded by hundreds of acres of woods, Mason meets the rest of the hunting party, whom all pay 50,000 for the privilege of being there. Yeah, and the winner or whoever caught him, I think, wins the money. I think that was part of it too, if I remember right. So the party includes Doc Hawkins, the founder of the hunt, a psychotic psychiatrist, who I think that was played by Gary Busey. Said the founder of the hunt, a psychotic psychiatrist, whom specializes in psychological assessments. Cole, Texas oil man John Griffin, wealthy executive Derek Wolf Sr. and his son Derek Wolf Jr., who is at first unaware of the true purpose of the hunt. Yeah, the son didn't really know, but anyway, said the first night all the men are eating a nice dinner and engaging in conversation. Mason receives a pack of cigarettes from Hawkins and learns a little history about the man. Hawkins relays a brutal story from his childhood when his father forced him to train and then fight his dog as a lesson of being a man. And the story goes on and on, but basically they get out there into the field, into the forest, in the remote forest or whatever, and they hunt him down. They give him a head start of I don't remember how long, and then they hunt him down. And it goes on for days, which parallels to here we go, which parallels to the other story. Oh man, let's see. Not gonna let me do that. Yeah, it was parallel to the other story of this right here, the most dangerous game. So I'm gonna start up here. Yeah, the most dangerous game by Richard Connell, action adventure fiction, blah 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 blah. It says the most dangerous game, also published as The Hounds of Zaroff, is a short story by Richard Connell, first published in Collier's on January 19, 1924. This has always been in in Esau's spirit. He's always liked to hunt. He's always been like that's why I read that in Genesis. He was a cunning hunter. He always liked to hunt, but when the challenges of hunting animals become too easy, they start hunting man. And so that's what's coming. That's what the brother from Karatazar from Vegas out here in Vegas put out, and then the apostle was backing up with the Running Man and these other movies, right? It says the story features a big game hunter from New York who falls off a yacht and swims to an isolated island to the Caribbean where he is hunted by a Russian aristocrat. The story is, especially these rich Edomites. That's why the Purge too fits so well into it, because these rich Edomites, they get bored with life and they don't know how to what to do with their lives, so they figure out all types of tricks and games to stay interested. Just like when you go to that movie Django Unchained with Jamie Foxx, and the character played by matter of fact his name was Monsieur Kandi, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, asked what was the German guy's name? Anyway, the German character, the bounty hunter German guy. I'm drawing blank on his name right now, but when he asked him, he said, "Why do you do it?" He said, "Frankly, I'm just bored. At the end of the day, I'm bored. I want some new adventure." So Esau likes destruction and hunting and shit like that, where death, killing of animals or whatever else is part of what he's doing, because he's a man of the field, right? It says where he is hunted by a Russian aristocrat. The story is inspired by the big game hunting safaris in Africa and South America that were particularly fashionable among wealthy Americans in the 1920s. Yep, it's been done over a number of times, and that was pretty much it. It's the same story, literally. Sanger Rainsford and his friend are traveling to Rio de Janeiro, to hunt jaguar, blah, blah, blah. And then their boat is then shipwrecked, and that's when they run into this General Zaroff, who then puts them, hangs them out for a day or two, then gives them a 3 hour head start or some type, a 3 hour head start, and sets out to hunt and kill them, down here, right? He supplied the sailors in the jungle supplies with food, a knife, and hunting clothes to be his quarry. Yeah, so that's pretty much the same story. And that's just the spirit of Esau. That's what this so-called white man does. He loves that type of thing. But it still continues to go back into his spirit. That's why I read this. It said, "And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field." When you look at all the so you put that man of the field with that spirit of Esau, you put the spirit of Cain, the murderer, the first murderer, that's Esau. Ties him right into the so-called white man. That's what he's into. When you go to these truck stops, going up toward some of these, especially here in Nevada, going up to some of these in white America and these rural area America, where these forests and whatnot are, that's who you see at these places. You see so-called white man Esau out there with their camouflage and their big trucks and their shotguns and their NRA stickers and so on and so forth. That fits his spirit. If it's not the so-called white man, then who is it? Right? It says, and Jacob, the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Americans today, was a plain man dwelling in tents. They're not used to being out in the field like that. We pick up that type of thing, just for fun, but that's in the so-called white man's spirit to be that. But going back into this, yeah, I downloaded this PDF, and we went into this here in Vegas before, talking about Thanksgiving, about what they did in Europe. You know, um, yeah, about the Moors that were in Spain and so on and so forth, scattered throughout the Middle East and the Mediterranean in that area. And then they got pushed over into the land that was then called that began to be called Turkey. You know, or as in Turkish Moors. You know, Turks. Um, so when the Moors were pushed over to there, the so-called white. Matter of fact, I'm gonna read it right here. Yeah. I'm gonna start because there was a battle with all of that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna read it after the up here it said after the expulsion of the Moors, Cardinal Ximenes, backed by Pope Alexander VI of Rome and Queen Isabella. We know the Pope Alexander VI of Rome is that's Rodrigo Borgia, the Borgia family. You know, the son of the Cesare Borgia, which became painted as the white image of Jesus that they still hold today. It says, ordered the destruction of the beautiful and stunning Moorish libraries and mosques. Yeah, because they were civilized and a peaceful people. When you go back, it fits everything about characteristics of those people. Uh, became known or held similarities to the Israelites. You know, that were the southern kingdom of Israelites that were still in that region. Anyway, it says where we at? So many Moors were driven into West Africa and later captured and sold into America as slaves. Some of these slaves came on the slave ships of Christopher Columbus, a Spanish Jew, who was commissioned by Queen Isabella on the voyage of the New World. Many other Moors sought refuge in the country of Anatolia. These expelled Muslims, Moors, from Spain would later be called Turks, as in Turkish Moors, and the country would later be renamed Turkey by Europeans. Since after the expulsion of the Moors, Europeans began to annually celebrate November 25th. There would be a great feast all over Spain and Europe. Turkey bird was not on the main meat dish served, but a fat roasted pig with an apple in its mouth, representing or symbolizing rebirth or a new beginning. Europeans ate so much on this feast day that virtually nobody could work the next day. That's why they brought that custom over and used it upon the Native American Indians for Thanksgiving over here. They had that already as a custom that they kept over there, and they brought it right over here, used it on the Native American Indians and the Seminole Indians. You know, so they wouldn't be able to fight. They fed them and stuffed them so much that they wouldn't be able. It says, and it's still a custom that we hold today. People eat so much on Thanksgiving that they can't even go to work the next day. It says, where are we at? Yeah. It said, the Europeans ate so much on this feast day that virtually nobody could work the next day, which explains why in modern times many corporate jobs give their employees the day after Thanksgiving off. Valid point. It says, years later, Europeans began to take advantage on the Moors, now called Turks, because of the sexual relations of Moors. The Moors held with white Christian Spaniard women. Yeah, because when you're ruling in the Dark Ages, when you're ruling, that's when you take the other country or whoever they're women, you take them captive and they become your sex slaves. You know, that's the booty, that's the spoils of war, right? It says the black men Moors were mockingly called turkeys, and were called this by the European men because of their alleged wild and uncivilized nature. Alleged, right? Wild and uncivilized nature. European Christians would now go on a turkey shoot or turkey hunt. And this is where it ties in. This is still in the so-called white man's spirit. You know, when he rose up into power, he would still go out and shoot and hunt you Negroes, man. That's where all of this came from. You know, and he did it to the Native Americans. You know, and he did it. That's in his MO. So how much more would it be to justify him doing that to prisoners of war or to people that are deemed terrorists or whatever here in America? That's what brings so much relevance to the article the brother Krasazar brought out. It says, the hunting of the stern Karajite, Karajite Moor from Turkey, Anatolia, became an act highly regarded by Europeans at the time. In the process of the turkey shoot, Europeans would engage in the wholesale slaughter of the black-skinned Turkish Moors. Innocent Moors would be hunted down cold-blooded by European Christians. Many others would be captured, tied by their wrists and ankles with rope and roasted alive, just like you roast a turkey bird in the oven for Thanksgiving dinner. The Moors that were not roasted alive were laid on the ground, and the European male would take a knife and literally carve up the Turk, which is what many people are reenacting when they carve the turkey bird on Thanksgiving. This bloodied, carved up Turk, Moorish man, would then have his internal organs removed and his body stuffed with certain fabric material. The sick origin of stuffing the turkey bird with bread stuffing or dressing. Yeah, that's what that goes back to. It said the Moorish woman, here's the coldest part about your women right here. It said the Moorish women, you Negro, West Indian and Haitian women that were Moors back in that time, right? It says, it says the Moorish women were literally carved and cut apart the way meat eaters and butchers today cut up a chicken. Many European men would say, give me a breast, or I'll take a thigh, or I want a leg, just like meat eaters today do today when they are ordering chicken or fried chicken. Breast, thighs, legs are all female sexual related and connotative body parts. It says, as women are sized up and critiqued by the size of their breasts, thickness of their thighs, and smoothness and build of their legs, feminist right? You guys don't even get it when you do this Thanksgiving thing, or when because they used the same thing when they came over and did it to the Native Americans and then the similar Indians. So feminist meat eaters should think about the sexual politics of meat the next time they brutally bite into a piece of chicken or any animal commonly eaten today for that matter, as all eaten meats are female. Yeah. I'll read it. It says, after this violent and brutal act, European men would then engage in joyous merrymaking, which would culminate the great big feast. This is what you call Thanksgiving. Yep. It says, and eagerly celebrated every year under the false notation that you are celebrating the friendly act of feast between Native Americans, so-called Indians, and European settlers, so-called pilgrims. Yeah. You know, and brothers know the general history of it from that. And this article was about Thanksgiving by Cheryl Lofton Wooding Bay, courtesy of Louise Ockell, something like that. You know, so that's just to show that this so-called white man has not changed in what he's done. He's been doing these things over and over, so it only makes sense that when the apostle and his brother brought this out, that where is it at? They brought this out that it's reasonable to believe that this would happen in this day and age. And a lot of these movies have people being hunted by men, a man being hunted by another man. You know? And look at that net from the MRAP. That only makes sense. And they've been practicing these drills, and when they do these high-speed chases, especially a few, like maybe 10 years or so, back in LA, they were every day around 3 o'clock. There was another high-speed chase. The news had the copters, the police had the copters, and the cops behind them. It was always a high-speed chase on TV. Couldn't watch a good cartoon or game show or whatever. It was on every day, like routine. and it became the most watched thing. And everybody would talk about, oh, you seen how such and such, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I know that nigga. It was whatever. He was running and went right past my house and blah 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 blah. But that's the same thing. So they know that this has the potential to be a very popular show, like it was in the movie The Running Man. It was the most highly watched game show. You know, where's it at? Well, I'm going a little slow, but anyway, it was the most highly watched game show. So anyway, yeah, you know, so I was just laying back and off of what the brother did, and I was gonna do something with that. And the apostle did it even better than I could. He said it more beautifully than I could. So just to add the other thoughts that I had on it to add into it. So Lord willing, brother was edified by it. If you haven't seen the other videos from the apostle and the brother, man, check those videos out, man. All this will make a lot more sense when you watch the brother Karatazar from Vegas sit downs video, the apostle Aram Lab on GMS Info Doc channel 11, and you know all this will make a lot more sense. So with that, when you brothers edified, give all praise and glories unto Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, Kahalal Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Greetings, blessings, and salutations unto the elect and of those that help forth the truth. Shalom.